I want to contrast this with like a rather middling comedy, like say what you will about Mom's Night Out, but like there's like one scene in the movie where they show the audience that the child is safe, so that like the comedy is from the parents freaking out over it, and it's like that movie, say what you will about it, do enough to diffuse the comedy, diffuse the suspense for the audience in it.
Yeah.
You know, unlike this movie. And this movie, it's like there are a couple maybe silly moments, like
They fell flat every time because there was no diffusion of suspense,
yeah,
and as a result, it just seems forced. It's like if you're watching Schindler's List and Schindler and his girlfriend are there on they're on the hill. No, hear me out here. Are there on the hill? They're watching the ghetto raid, and they watch that child in red suddenly walk out. And this is the only color that's in the movie
I know.
at all. They watch this child walk out. She's just sort of dazed and stumbling through all this chaos. Bullets are flying, fists are being thrown, and then suddenly the Nazis chase past. No, the Nazis chase past her in pursuit of a clown who is frantically running away and throwing pies at them to dampen their pursuit. It's that intrusive. Because the gravity of the situation is that this woman's going to hell because she said, "This is the last straw, lady. You can't keep cheating the system like this." That there's no way that a sensible person could come to the conclusion that this woman deserved this fate.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing that can possibly be addressed is the cat sacrifice. But I posit this: when faced with
Zuka, you don't get it. You see, she stabbed her kitten, and the kitten bled. Like, if you don't understand the humor of that situation, I don't know what to do for you.
oh yeah, miles of smiles. I was laughing very hard the whole time.
And another thing is, like, even in the interview, which will probably be linked, Brittany even, like, judges her for this action. Like, oh, she's a vegetarian, but she does this anyway. Well, she was literally forced to do this.
Yeah, yeah, and when faced with the immortal soul being taken to hell, and we're talking facing an eternity of this, not a few years, not a few hundred years, no hope that it will ever end, but literally eternal. That's pushing someone to extremes through desperation. You can't fucking judge someone for that. And yeah, getting back to the core of it, there's no correlation between the weight of the crime and the response. And when this when our protagonist when we learn more about her, we learn not only is she generally a decent person in all of her other dealings, but she conquered childhood obesity. She's a vegetarian. She's she comes from a farm, and she's trying really hard to make a good impression on her boyfriend's family because they're kind of snooty. We're talking someone who is grassroots, one of the most relatable kinds of people in the world. You had one job, Sam Raimi. You could have made a character like every other stock horror character out there. You know, the unlikable party animal douchebag who.
Well, I see what's going on here because you can be relatable, likable, and
Well, it's not just likable, it's
do something
relatable.
wrong for somewhat like understandable reason, but it screws it up. It takes that premise and just perverts it.
Well, and
And the
it's.
funny thing is, Sam Raimi already made a good morality tale of do the right thing. It was uh, it, like
Spider
a
Man?
simple plan, a simple plan, which was he already made a movie like that. It's like his one actually like serious movie,
Mm.
and he actually did a pretty good job. It's a good movie. Are you looking up now?
Oh, I was gonna see if I could get a blow by blow on the script, but yeah, the thing that makes this film so disgusting to me, so I hate to use the word, but offensive, is that core, that disproportionate response. Now, if suppose Raimi didn't mind changing the title, the response could be, you know, a demon will torment you in your mortal life for X amount of days, and the idea is to retain your sanity through the extent of it. That has some comedic potential. That has some. That lets us know that, you know, there is some hope. That lets us know that our mostly decent protagonist can learn a valuable lesson if she comes out of the other end with her marbles intact and, you know, is humbled by the experience, but generally becomes a better person. But no, we've got what I can only describe as a brutality, a senseless brutality of this character. And you know, when Raimi is talking about her like she's a real person who has done real things and not as a character that he wrote, I just gotta shake my head.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think this could have worked had you lowered the stakes. It would have been a good lesson. Probably Franny had been done something genuinely in the tone of that of Army of Darkness or something.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
to teach a lesson, it would be fine. But it, I I have people tell me it's funny. I'm actually offended by this suggestion. This movie is funny.
Yeah, I don't know where the comedy comes from.
Uh, um,
I still think that it's just, you know, drop of water in the desert routine where they really want to believe that as you said, this is return to form, but it's just not. It's barren of comedy.
yeah, I've heard some people say like the talking goat is funny, which I don't get. That's the reason that didn't register as a joke to me is because oh well he possesses a goat. The goat calls her a whore. I mean, that's literally that's literally the same way demons talk in every possession movie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
That's all they do. They possess something. They slut shame the first woman they see in the room. It's
yeah,
and
not exactly breaking new ground here.
Yeah, I don't think the talking gun itself qualifies as a joke. Another thing is like a genuine. I don't want to, especially since it's something to the extent where it actually is used seriously in a very good horror movie. I don't want to say that movie's title because that would actually be spoiling just by itself, but you probably know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. It's a great movie. You should check it out.
Yeah.
And is there anything you say positive about this movie? Like,
Well, I laid down the one good thing that I managed to derive from it, and that is inspirations for my own storytelling. Uh, I have a comic that I'm producing called Lone Candle. I'm sure Scorpio will provide links. It's got a similar theme, except the damnation is voluntary. There is still a child who is condemned to hell, but the hero of the story mortgages her own soul to free the child's soul, and uh, it it allows the child's soul to be free and return to his body, while the protagonist has this sword of Damocles hanging over her head, and the uh, the
was
story.
expecting this kind of plug.
Yeah, the story.
You're
Yeah,
putting all sorts of obligations on music. Yeah.
Well, it's got similar flavor, but it doesn't try to make a literally biblically grave situation into a comedy.
I think. Well,
Yeah, what did you find positive about the film, if anything?
I guess there were some moments where I got a bit of a chuckle, like in the first scene. You see the Locke just storming around the room, it's invisible, but it's causing trouble, and it just bitch slaps some random person. That got a chuckle out of me. And one time where she's trying to dig up the grave of the woman, and the cross knot bumps her on the head. But I think probably the biggest thing is I think the score by Christopher Young is very good, and it should have been nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, I guess the score was all right.
And I'm also on a fun note on the morality of it. It's like one of the ways to cheat the curse is to give the button to someone else. Like, what's the morality that some poor sap gets a button and can stand to hell?
Yeah.
Like, some people are like literally go to hell just by pure coincidence. And I think that's really all I have to say about it.
Yeah, I think that's all that needs to be said. It failed in both its attempt to be a comedy and its attempt to be a morality play, because you can't learn from anything if you're roasting in perdition.
Yep.
And it's not funny if the stakes involve your immortal soul. Unless, there's some glimmer of hope at the end. Even Christmas with the freaking Cranks had that admittedly hollow attempt at a positive ending. Where the neighbors basically say, all right, we still think that you're scumbags, but we're going to do this for your daughter. And it's like, wow, that just... Christmas spirit right there.
Well, I think that's about it.
Yep.